Good morning, Anambra, and everyone watching us from anywhere in the world. It's a beautiful Friday morning, and we gladly welcome to your breakfast TV show, which is Good Morning Anambra on TV. My name is Chidimma Orangwa. It's a TGIF edition of the show. So this morning, we're starting the show by, bringing your way what the tabloids are saying this morning, the trending stories on different tabloids that we have under review this morning. But before we do that, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, our guest is already seated in the studios of ABS this morning. We introduce our guest and go straight into discussion. Stay with us. Program, and our guest this morning is Ejike Abata. He is a public affairs analyst. Ejike, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, quickly, let's go straight to the business of the day. The first paper under review this morning is a Daily Times newspaper with the big story there saying $49.8 billion didn't miss under my watch. Jonathan replies Emir Sanusi. And then we have riders under it saying, explains how Kano Emir was suspended as CBN governor. I was constructively dismissed by ex-president, says Sanusi. And then up there we can see over 65 terrorist leaders, commanders killed in 3 months. This is coming from defense headquarters. Bobrisky, federal government suspends senior prison officers over infractions. Allow independent marketers lift fuel from Dangote refinery, reps urges federal government. Embalmment, FRSC unveils new master plan to reduce road crashes. And then all gas industry owes the federal government $6 billion, 66 billion naira, a NATI report. NDIC commences sale of Heritage Bank assets to compensate uninsured depositors. Wow. These are the stories in the front page of the Daily Independent, or rather, Daily Times newspaper this morning. Ejike, so which one would you want to delve into?
Well, quite interesting stories as regards the banner headline there.
Okay.
And, Jonathan has come out to deny the allegation made by the former CBN governor, now the Emir of Kano, Sanusi. $49.8 billion is a huge sum, but one wonders why the claim is being made now. We know in the past he had, sometime in 2014 or thereabouts, Sanusi said NNPC failed to remit a certain amount of funds into the Federation of account, running into billions of dollars. I think that one is quite different from the claim he made yesterday during the book launch of $49.8 billion. And why is he saying it now? Nigeria is not a country where we can go back to the records and begin to make investigations and then prosecute whoever is found wanting, or it doesn't work like that in Nigeria. If it were in another crime, even a crime that was committed 10 years ago, like we have in the US, where a mayor has been prosecuted for a crime he committed 10 years ago, a mayor in the US, a sitting mayor, but it doesn't happen like that in Nigeria. Having said that, another quite interesting story is this story about Bobrisky, Idris Olarewaju Okunoye, who it was alleged he was supposed to be in prison. He was prosecuted, he was jailed by a sitting judge, and only for us to wake up earlier this week to hear that he did not spend a day in jail. Rather, he was given a comfortable apartment beside or close to the prison for him to spend his jail time there. And if you begin to put two and two together, you see that there's an atom of truth in the allegation, because There are pictures of Bobrisky wheeling his bag after while he left the court premises on that day. So who goes to prison with a packed bag, a traveling bag? And I'm not talking about a handbag, a traveling bag. Who goes to prison with a traveling bag? So there's an atom of truth to the whole allegation, and it shouldn't just end by dismissing or suspending prison officials. Proper investigation should be done. This is not the first time we've heard of investigation. We'll look into it. Better Edu, the case of Better Edu, nobody has heard anything about it again. So proper investigation should be done, and those who heads should roll, because prison shouldn't be meant for some particular set of people. If you are jailed, then go in and serve time and come out. It's a correctional facility, so go in there, learn your lessons, come out and be a better person.
Okay. I want to take you back a little bit, the first submission, like when we are talking about what Emir of Sanusi said. You say in Nigeria that we don't have the capacity, or we haven't done it before, of, you know, investigating cases that have been something that has happened years back. You get? So I'm just curious, like, why can't we do that in a country? What if that case is linked to maybe the problem that we are facing in the country now? Do we just leave it like that because it happened years back? Don't you think it's good that at least we start now, even if we've not been doing it before, to see where our problem started from?
That's the way the country is designed. It is intentionally designed in that manner.
Okay, intentionally designed.
Yes, it's intentionally designed in that manner, and that's what you get when you have rulers instead of leaders. And who are those that will set the path, if not the same rulers? So you don't expect them to indict themselves. It's more like you are expecting them to put or enact a law that will affect them negatively. So it can't happen, not with this set of rulers that will, until when we have genuine leaders who have good intentions to rule the country, to manage the country, to lead the country, and make life meaningful for everybody, where you have justice, where you have equity, where you have rule of law. We are far from having such a case. Even what's our level of record keeping in Nigeria? If you demand for a file now to that effect, you might hear you can't find a file. So that's the case.
All right, let's quickly go over to the next paper we have under review this morning. That's the Vanguard newspaper. Alleged missing $49.8 billion. Why Sanusi had to go as CBN Governor Jonathan. And then we can still see that there. Flood. How 5 northern states lost 141 lives in 2 months. That's another story there. And then up there we can see why some Heritage Bank depositors are yet to be refunded. NDIC boss. Edo Poll, I'll be servant of all, ready to work, and with opposition. Okpebole received certificate of return. This day, publisher to military. Stop arresting protesters, go after kidnappers. Gagging media will stagnate democracy. Governor Oyebanji. Nigeria at 64. SGF ministers defend Tinubu's policies amid cabinet reshuffle hints. And then we still have other stories there. Tinubu receives Okpebole and Idahosa. You can see the picture in the front page of Vanguard this morning. Christian elders to federal government reverse fuel price hike to avert looming crisis. And on the sports, Igavon continues as Super Eagles head coach against Libya, NFF. Okay, these and many more are what we have in the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's quickly take the next paper so that we can review them together. And that's the Punch newspaper. 70,000 naira minimum wage. Federal government begins payment. Salary rise to 4 trillion naira. Then we have about 1,236,824 federal workers to earn 334,009 billion naira monthly. NLC, TUC, Lord Federal Government. Why my admin suspended Sanusi? Okay, we've seen that. All companies owe government over $6 billion. Neiti. Federal government probing bandit sponsors defense headquarters. Oshomole congratulates Obebole once Obaseki probed. And then 21 children killed in Kenyan school fire buried. Kwara hails death sentence for 5 of her bank robbers. Afenifere demands restructuring as Senate OK's Southwest Development Commission. I know you would be interested to start with the new minimum wage.
So finally, the federal government is coming up with payment of 70,000 naira. But my concern is the commendation by NLC and TEC. These are one confused set of executive that the NLC and TEC has never had in recent times. These are people who speak, especially the NLC president. These are people who speak from both sides of their mouth. Before now, the NLC president said they were betrayed by the president, who promised not to increase fuel price, or albeit who gave them two options: either I increase your salary above 70,000, or I increase the price of fuel and pay you 200,000. And Joe Ajero said, being the human that they were, they decided to go for 70,000 naira. But now, the price of petrol has been increased about twice after that negotiation was made, and nothing has been done by the NLC. And today they are commending the president for paying 70,000 naira. To what effect? To what effect? What was the price of petrol when they made that agreement compared to what we have now? What is the price of foodstuff and other goods and services compared to what we have now? So it's a big shame. On the other hand, you can imagine the amount the federal government is spending on payment of salaries, and it will continue like this. They will continue to pay more until they learn to put industries on ground. I don't know why. Anyway, I shouldn't say I don't know why, because it's very glaring that it's something that it's quite intentional for them, not wanting to build industries where people will engage themselves, so that they will take up that burden from federal government. It's the same thing with state governments. Paying billions of naira as salary, and this, with the agreement they had, after 2 years it will be reviewed, of course upwards, not downwards. And we are wondering where inflation is coming from. We are wondering why we have inflation keeps rising in Nigeria. These are part of the reasons. So the needful should be done. No, but everybody should not be striving to. Government work shouldn't be so attractive, for God's sake. It shouldn't be so attractive. Give a level playing ground for people to establish themselves. Build industries where people would be employed. Give room for people, individuals, to go into entrepreneurship. Don't overburden them with tax. The moment they see you establish a very small business, they're not minding the worth of the goods in your shop. They begin to hit you with tax left, right, and center. So it shouldn't be like that. Government should do what they ought to do, so that this burden of payments of and salaries running into billions. Okay, 4 trillion has been earmarked for payment of salary. It's not a sharing news at all.
Okay, also in the front page of Vanguard, we have so many stories there, but I'm interested in the one talking about flooding, how 5 northern states lost 141 lives already in 2 months. I mean, this has become a recurring decimal in our country. Every year, a lot of people living in the flood-prone areas, they are just afraid because they don't even know what to expect at the end of the day. But then again, I mean, I was talking with someone that is a member of an NGO. He said that most times, if you go to tell people living in those areas that it's time for them to vacate their homes, of course, I know it's not easy to do that annually. But then again, we are talking about lives. That some people will tell you that it's not going to be possible for them, and when the flood hits, some of them will lose their properties, lose their lives, and so many things there.
I will always blame it on let's even remember, let's cast our mind back to how this flood came about. Yes, we'll be having floods in the past, but the one that hit I think it was Bronu. Yes, how did it come about? There was a dam that was supposed to be fixed. Nobody fixed that dam. The dam was in bad shape before the rains come. Before the rains came, it was expected that the dam should have been fixed so that when flooding comes, it won't be the severity won't be that much. Yeah. But nobody did anything about it. And today we are talking about lives that has been lost. Nobody is talking about somebody who failed to do what he ought to do. Somebody who was in a position to do the right thing but failed to do it. That has led to loss of lives. As regards people not wanting, it tells you how much people are so much attached to their ancestral homes. And also, it also goes to tell you that that man who is living in a thatched roof house or a mud house, he's very, very comfortable there. Telling him to live there, to go to, even if you are giving him a duplex somewhere else, where he knows it's not his own property, he won't be comfortable with it. That's the problem we have. So sometimes I do not blame those people. I do not blame them, because they are contented. They would prefer whatever would happen should happen to them there, rather than living. And then most times, funnily enough, they are in that condition that is not so palatable, but they are in some way somehow they are in good health. But the moment they leave that place to that IDP camp, or there seems to be some outbreak of diseases and all of that. So that's their fear. You see them struggling for food. You see people bringing NGOs and individual donors, companies donating food materials, donating sleeping materials. But they rather sleep on their mats rather than go to struggle. Because at the end of the day, you see them struggling for this item that has been donated, that was meant for them, which, if in all sincerity were distributed evenly, everybody will get their own fair share. But they would rather stay back in their mud house with a thatched roof, sleeping on their mat, rather than go to where they will go to struggle for wrappers and food and mattresses and mosquito nets. So that is the attachment they have with their ancestral home. So it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. This thing needs sensitization over time. It's not something it's not a one-off thing. Yeah. You keep letting people know. You keep letting your area. It's nobody's fault. It is prone to flooding. It's a natural disaster. So at this time of the year, we expect you to move. And if you are telling them to move, please make the necessary arrangements, proper arrangement for them, so that they will, when they are leaving, they will live. They will look forward to living. They won't live reluctantly. They will live knowing that for the meantime, they are going to somewhere better. And hoping that when it's time for them to go back, when the floods might have receded, they will have something to fall back on when they go back.
All right, let's go over to the Delhi Independent newspaper this morning. Tinubu correcting missteps of past, repositioning Nigeria. This is coming from the federal government. Says Nigerians understanding over economic hardship. Okay, 6 Nigerians understanding over economic hardship. Says hardship occasioned by unavoidable policy choices. Insists the president focused on putting more money in citizens' pockets. Tinubu's administration inherited 2,600 road projects worth 13 trillion naira. Reps asked federal government to allow marketers leave to PMS directly from Dangote. Court sentences 5 to death over 2018 of a bank robbery. And then northern leaders seek solution to insecurity, poverty, disunity in region. Oil gas sector owes the federal government $6 billion, 66 billion naira, fresh NATO report reveals. And Senate moves to increase governance cost with new security outfit. And then we can see the story of Edo, and then federal government suspending suspends prison officers that has link with Bobrisky's case. So let's also see the next paper. The This Day newspaper is next. Kekere Ekun confirmed as Chief Justice seeks reforms. That's the big story in the front page of This Day newspaper. And we have the banner headline, the writers there saying, CJN advocate pre-election matters terminate at appeal court. Says a stringent process should be adopted in judges' appointment. Threatens serious consequences for erring judges over conflicting judgments. Says senior lawyers commenting on ongoing cases in court will face severe consequences. Her appointment shows Tinubu's respect for seniority, merit, says presidency. 25 observer groups knock a Dogiba poll, object to collation of what local government results. 30 CSOs present recommendations to National Assembly, support Yaga Africa's position that election lacks credibility. It was election conducted by INEC PDP reiterates. IG applauds conduct of officers, other security agencies during election. Presidency cabinet reshuffle imminent. Move will be hinged on minister's performance. And then EFCC slams fresh 16-count charge against Yahaya Bello at Abuja High Court. Okay, these are the stories we have in the front page of This Day and Daily Independent newspaper this morning. AGK.
Yes, Tinubu correcting the
missteps of past and repositioned in Nigeria.
Yes, how far, how well is he repositioning? He didn't tell us these missteps. He should have highlighted these missteps so that when he corrects one, we tick and know this has been dealt with.
Okay.
But like I keep saying, I don't see this government is termed and renewed hope. I see no hope anywhere. I see no hope anywhere. You are correcting missteps and repositioning Nigeria. You are asking Nigerians to fast. You keep telling us to understand the pains. He keep hammering on that, understanding the pains. He keeps talking about this pain, just like in the past presidents we will keep assuring Nigerians. So telling Nigerians you are feasting and you are asking Nigerians to fast. It doesn't work like that, for God's sake. Which corrections of the past errors of the past are you correcting? You renovated the vice president's apartment with 21 billion naira. How do we balance that? You got a private jet for yourself. How do we balance that? You know, there are things if you are a reform should have human face, for God's sake. We should be able to know this is what you are doing and this is what we should expect within this time. What Tinubu is doing today, there is no time frame to it. This is 1 year into his government, and people are lamenting, people are crying. In a few months' time, it will be 2 years, and we will keep telling, just like we are told in the past administration. It's the same thing that is almost playing out. If you say you are repositioning, you are correcting, give us a time frame. By the third year, you start reaping benefits of whatever magic that I'm doing. That is where hope comes in. You don't just give people a blank hope and just tell them to be hopeful and keep enduring pains. Nobody endures pain in such manner. We're in the midst of plenty. some persons are feasting and then you are telling others to fast and then give. No, you are riding on the hunger of on Nigerians. You are living and eating off from the pockets of Nigerians or from the well-being of Nigerians by your actions. Today, we do not know how much the NNPC is buying fuel from Dangote refinery. In the first time, why should even NNPC be a sole buyer from Dangote? So what is the essence of establishing the refinery in the first place? So there are so many anomalies in the process of correcting the alleged missteps. He's creating more problems for Nigerians in our eyes. Whatever achievements, provided it has not led to the reduction of prices of goods and commodities, especially food. There's food inflation in Nigeria. Until we begin to see reductions, especially even in the prices of petrol, we now have a refinery in Nigeria. We no longer export. So several costs has been cut off. So why are we still buying fuel at a higher rate with a minimum wage of 70,000 naira?
Well, talking about the Dangote refinery let's believe that the federal government will listen to the reps, House of Reps, because they have asked them to allow marketers lift PMS, not just NNPCL.
They've also told Dangote to state how much he has received. Yes. Because Dangote said NNPC said they bought for 890, and then we want to let Dangote. It's as if they had an agreement that Dangote he must not disclose how much we are buying, because we've not the only thing Dangote keeps saying is no, we didn't sell to them at this amount. Then tell us how much you sold to them. So I hope, and going by what the House of Reps said, the instruction they gave to Dangote, let us know how much you sold to them, so that we will know who to hold responsible.
All right, quickly, let's see the other paper we have. That's the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Flood displaces 82 communities in Niger. And then we have the riders there. We use the canoes to evacuate our families. Situation worrisome, Council Chair. 19 local government areas affected this year, SEMA DG. And then 4 local government areas cut off in Borno State. Hardship, Tinubu orders low-key 64th independence celebration. And then we can see down there, 50 million Almajiri out-of-school children roaming Nigeria streets. This is a statement from the federal government. Okay, and let's also see what we have on the front page of the blueprint. Blueprint Akume on 64th independence anniversary. Renewed hope agenda, long-term solutions to our challenges. Unveils gains of Tinubu government, urges citizens resilience. Reforms will transform nation into economic superpower. This is from Idris. CJN to inaugurate 87 SANs as Supreme Court marks legal year. NDIC pays 84.98% of depositors in liquidated Heritage Bank. A governor to continue in Super Eagles role. Madugu takes over Falcons. 79th UNGA ExxonMobil unveils $10 billion deep water investment in Nigeria. And you can still see down there Sanusi and Jonathan Saga. Access Bank finalizes acquisition of Bank ABC. And these and many more are the stories we have in both papers, the Blueprint and the Daily Trust newspaper. We've talked about flooding, and we're just seeing the front page of Daily Trust again that about 82 communities are being displaced in Niger State.
It's a case of like a proverb in Igbo that would say the vulture is crying concerning the rain that beat it, and then the question is, will the vulture build a house come next raining season? It's the same thing. We will keep talking.
Yes.
It's not as if the rulers we have will do something about it. It's just for residents of those areas to equip themselves and get themselves ready. We have a government that does not care. That is the basic fact. If not, Why should we keep having such reports over the years? This is not the first time we are having such the same location. It is said that thunder does not strike in the same location twice, but this is a recurring event in the same location, and it keeps getting worse. If we had 100 people who lost their lives last year, this year we have 110. Next year it will keep increasing. No, it should be decreasing, showing that something is being done to ameliorate the situation there.
Yeah.
But far from it.
I mean, another report that I find alarming is the federal government telling us in the front page of the Daily Trust that 50 million Almajiri and out-of-school children are roaming the streets of Nigeria. So
what is the federal government telling us? What's the report for? For us to go and take them off the street or what? There are certain things that shouldn't be news. If you know, you have the data, 50 million, which is quite a number, which is also part of the reasons why we are having insecurity, whether we like it or not. That is a basic fact. It's the part of the reasons why we are having insecurity. Why not start doing something about them? Of course, it's not just a job of the federal government, but there is the federal government, the state government, even the local government, they do meet. Why not strategize a plan to take these people off the streets? But because all these things are intentional, like I said, nothing will be, okay, now we have the figure. What are the plans?
Exactly.
There are no plans as far as I'm concerned. There are no plans. Here in the southeast, one way or the other, the government make effort to take beggars off the streets, take them off, and before you know it, they are back again. That is because there are no sustained plans to really take them off the streets. There will be beggars on the streets, facts, we know that. But it shouldn't be underage children who are supposed to be in school. Okay, education is free in Anambra State, for instance. Why do we still have people under flyovers harassing people who go about their daily activities? Why do we have people putting small children in harsh weather conditions, exposing them to harsh weather conditions in the name of begging? So these are issues for the government at all levels, especially in the north, because one begins to wonder. This is a government in the north that gets almost everything at a highly subsidized rate compared to other regions in the country, both education, everything. You don't compare it with what we have in other regions. Yet we keep having a large number of Almajiris and out-of-school children from that area. And you want to tell me it is not intentional?
Well, I still believe that it's about reorientation, because most of them up there, they don't even value education when we are talking about out-of-school children. Is it not when you value education that you will send your kids or your wards to school? Even if there is free education, but you're not, as a government, you're not going to force these children to school. Even if you do that, they will still leave the school. So it's the parents' responsibility, or the guardian, or the elders in a particular community or a particular region, is their responsibility to see that these children, they go to school, they stay in school, and they learn.
That's why I tell you it's intentional. Because we have people who are educated in the north. We have religious leaders, because we can't take religion out of this, especially in that region. So what efforts have they made in sensitizing these children? And instead of letting them know what they should know, rather indoctrinate them in religious education, leaving out Western education, as it were. These two things should go hand in hand. Those of them who have who schooled abroad should know better. They should know that they have jobs on work to do. Go back and then develop your region. We shouldn't be having, and this issue of Almajiri has stayed on for several decades, and there seems to be no end in sight.
Oh, okay. Let's see the last paper we have under review this morning. That's the Nigerian Tribune. What Southwest Development Commission will achieve? Senators. Senate passes bill, await reps concurrent. That you can see on page 30 and page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then up there, oil gas industry hails federal government 6 billion, 66 billion naira and 80. Okay, this is their latest report. EFCC orders transfer of 11 billion naira recovered funds into Federation accounts. Senate moves to end a $9 billion loss to illegal mining. Rate of migration affecting health sector, Obasanjo laments. Oyo records 130 suspected cases of cholera in 6 local government areas. Tinubu reappoints Chinoko, CMD, DG. And then we have down there, federal government to toll Lagos-Ibadan expressway, second Niger bridge, others. And Edo Giba, INEC presents certificate of return to Babylon and deputy, and he's saying that he's going to be servant to his people.
I'll take 2 stories there. The Southwest Development Commission and federal government to Lagos Ibadan.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a ploy, a strategy to restructure Nigeria. So as it stands now, all the region now have a development commission, which for me is just duplication of responsibilities. We have governors in every state. Now you are creating a development commission, and that is why the NDDC there should have been a timeline for the activities of the development commission in the NDDC, so that when that time comes, they are disbanded. Okay. And we'll go back to what we have today. But today, every region has clamored for a development commission, which will in turn be another burden on the federal government, because after distributing whatever funds we have from allocation to states, you now have to create another fund to give them in bulk or to use to work. It's not as if they are handing the money over. The federal government will still be in charge, but it is still another burden of generating funds for the 6 regions. It doesn't make sense to me at all. The ones that the development commission that we have, how well have they fared? NDDC, for instance, is the haven of corruption. Almost every MD that have served there, including the sitting Senate president, has been accused of diverting funds. And I don't know how many of them have been prosecuted. Okay, now we have we keep having further edition in other regions. This is just a way of government at the center settling their allies. That's the way I see it. Now we are looking at Dave Umahi has come up to say that several major roads in the country, when they are after construction or rehabilitation, will be told. The question now is, if you ask, they will tell you the money used in construction these roads were borrowed. So if you told them, are you tolling it for Nigerians to pay so that you will pay back? Which I do not think is the case. Because if this is it's also part of the multi-taxation that we complain about. You build a road with our money, whether borrowed or not, or sourced in any way, and then we have to pay to use the facilities that you built using our money. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I know some persons will come up to justify it. If you borrow the money, what is the plan to pay back? What are the intentions of it? Was the whole plan initially for Nigerians to pay for the construction of the road, even after they have paid for taxes? So these are questions that should be answered. Unfortunately, it only ends with us talking about it. Federal government, whether we like it or not, will go ahead to do what they want to do. And this money, when they are collected, we do not know. Nobody accounts for it. Nobody knows which account it is paid for.
All right. Well, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to you, AGK, for joining us on Press Review this beautiful Friday morning. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, that's it on Press Review. We'll take a short break right now. When we come back, we still have other things for you this morning. Stay with us.